What is going on, everybody? It is episode 742 of Pop Culture Crisis. Welcome back from the weekend, everybody. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are back. I am back. I had a very important meeting with Donald Trump about the upcoming administration.
Dome.
I am now going to be the head of the Department of Moral Enforcement, aka Dome. So that's what you can be excited about for the new year. See you on Inauguration Day.
Yes, she's leaving PCC to head up Dome.
Yeah, most controversial cabinet pick so far.
Oh, by far. By far.
By far.
Tulsi Gabbard might be a Russian spy, but,
Tulsi who?
Yeah, exactly. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get started, I would like to remind you all again to please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Please remember to share the video, the live streams, the segments with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you like, people you hate, mortal enemies if you have them. The more people that you share them with, the faster channels like this can grow. So thank you guys so much for that. So what are we getting into today? Well, the biggest story that I saw, and it broke yesterday, was that Jay-Z has now been officially accused, officially named in the very, very serious bad crime against a 13-year-old. This is the same story that we covered a month ago involving him, Diddy, and an unnamed female, and the brutal crimes against a 13-year-old girl at a VMA after party back in 2000, and he has now been officially put on this lawsuit. That is a very, very big deal. He responded last night. He deleted his response. His lawyers have now spoken. It's a whole thing, so we're going to get into it. We are also going to talk about Pam Anderson and the discussion of whether she has hit the wall.
Has this 57-year-old woman hit the wall?
That's what they're saying. Or is she aging gracefully? And I think that is an interesting discussion to have. It's me and Mary come from two different worlds on this, because Pamela Anderson means something very different to a boy who grew up in the 90s than she does to...
She meant nothing to me.
Exactly.
I did not know who she was.
We are gonna talk about the whole discourse around aging gracefully, especially in Hollywood. So we're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna talk about Lana Del Rey, who gave this speech where she talks about how the music industry doesn't seem to share her values, and she defended her Republican husband.
Yes, so, Jeremy Dufresne,
king.
We're gonna talk about it. King.
So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready to go, we can just get right into it. You ready?
I think we're ready.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
First, how was Friday with Phil, though?
Oh, it was.
Before we start, I want to check if he made any trouble for you.
No. My people. There was really funny people who were like, Phil looks great against the sparkly background. See, I don't think those lights are all that noticeable behind you, so I didn't have any problem.
Adds a little something.
I had no problem putting Phil there. Like, I never wanted to put the dudes behind in your seat when we were at the castle
stuffed animals.
With the stuffed
It's a little
animal.
Emasculating.
Yeah, so I thought this was fine, but we had a lot of fun. Me, him, and Raymond, and we talked a lot of stuff. And
it was boys.
It was boys. So it was
right.
Good. So, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. Did you guys know that when we talked about the viral holding spaces trend, the stars, in fact, had no clue what the hell was going on?
Yeah, this viral moment from one of the Wicked interviews was everywhere on my timeline for the last couple of weeks. This woman at Out magazine let Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo know that a lot of people are taking the lyrics from Defying Gravity in the movie, and they're really holding space for that and holding power in that. And at the time, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo behaved as if they knew exactly what that nonsense phrase meant. They just revealed in a new interview with Variety that they were pretending the whole time to understand what it meant. Not only that, but they were pretending that they felt really strongly about it, like to the point where they were breaking into tears once again. It's been countless times so far that they have been absolutely verklempt in these interviews. But this is hilarious to me because, it shows exactly why you shouldn't respect these people and you should not hold space for these people. Yeah. They're pretending to feel strongly about this movie in all of their interviews.
It would have been one thing if they were just like, oh, that's so nice, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know, or like ask for clarification. But instead what they did is they sat there and they were like, that's so powerful. I'm gonna cry. Like,
words don't mean anything. In
They were
Hollywood
pretending
anymore.
the whole time.
This is one of those things where one of the things I complain about the most is the word vomit. Which is most of what it is in Hollywood. I think it's just because we don't experience it as much as other people do, which is like we read a lot of interviews and we see a lot of like magazine op-eds and things like that where you're encouraged to be as verbose as possible. And one of the hallmarks of like modern day Marxist ideology is that it's a lot of big words that don't really add up to a whole lot of anything. And they use it a lot in politics these days. Certainly that's most of what Kamala Harris's campaign was, just a lot of just words thrown together. No meaning whatsoever. Nothing.
With a lot of feelings and a lot of vibes. Yeah. So that's what we
We're
saw
just
in
operating
that
on vibes. Are we playing this clip? Are we gonna?
Yeah. I want to show this is them admitting the Wicked cast had no idea what holding space meant.
I've seen it. Yeah.
That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
See, even there, she's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really
powerful.
powerful.
Idea that this thing was going on. I didn't know that was happening.
So I didn't know what any part of it meant.
That's really powerful.
I didn't understand the first sentence.
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
And then I definitely didn't understand.
You know what it reminds me of? Stepping into your confidence.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's all a bunch of bullshit that doesn't mean anything. Pardon my language.
Understand what was happening, how you responded. I was like, oh, what did she say? What did you?
Somebody in the chat says, "What is she wearing?" I'm here for the outfit though. Like I wish I had some jeans to pull that outfit off. Are you kidding me?
Here, and I just wanted to be there because I knew something big was happening, and I didn't know how to be there.
So she grabbed Cynthia Erivo's finger.
But then after a while, I didn't know how to be there.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not playing?
Was it? Did it stop?
Why?
Pause. Hold please. Well, it's go ahead, keep going. I'm gonna see if I
She
can.
didn't know how to hold space.
She did not know how to hold space.
Well, I just think it's funny because they pretend like they're bursting into tears out of sheer joy and true emotional depth about this movie and what it means to the fans, when in reality,
because it's all fake.
Like they were faking.
Yeah, it's all fake. Look,
is it playing? Now?
We can see if we can pick back up here. Here you go.
Yeah.
She's tapping.
She said
the
something
Took
that meant something to her.
me, then
You,
reeled it
it
back.
meant something totally different to you.
Yes.
And then she tried to kind of get somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing was, I remember in the moment asking myself, am I okay? Did I not hear something? And I was like, am I?
I'm with her on this. Like, this happens a lot of the time when we're reading stuff to me, but actually, where I'm like, did I read
No,
that
everyone's
correct?
had a moment like that.
I mean, that's
yeah.
me pretty much every day.
But most of the time, it's because you didn't hear them, not because you didn't understand them. If you didn't understand it, just ask. But they didn't.
Well, I have a rule.
They just played along.
I have a rule. I'll ask what 3 times. After that, I'm just playing along.
You're just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Totally.
much. Yeah.
I was like, 'cause she looks like she's about to cry again. And I'm
Yeah.
going to grab this because I think you might need something.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the tapping was about. But that
Tension.
happened. That
Tapping
happened.
tension.
Yeah, that
There is
happened. I was like,
tension.
oh shit, something's happening.
She had said that she was
Stimming.
because she was in queer media.
You know, I am in queer media.
And I was like, I honestly didn't know
same.
what that meant. And am I also in queer media?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I mean, it was a magazine called Out.
Right.
I think she's kind of lying here. I think she doesn't know what that means. Now it feels like she's playing to the camera for this one.
Exactly.
Like, now she's just.
Now you're playing it cool.
Yeah.
You're playing it
This
off.
is the opposite. I think she's lying here.
We are great.
Work. Let's both be there.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just am glad. I feel really relieved that the world had the same experience
Yeah.
with this moment that I did, because I felt like, oh, I'm not broken.
But I do love how the world has like gone with it.
Okay.
So they're kind of having a moment where they're saving face at this point because it was so deeply embarrassing for them that they really, this is a hallmark of the theater kids, that they take themselves way too seriously. But it also calls back to a different time in Hollywood where celebrities weren't the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
People still kind of did take them at their word, and they were out of touch unabashedly.
Yeah.
And that was fine because we didn't really consider them to be human beings. They were just performers. So maybe it's like weirdly a return to form for Hollywood, for celebrities to get back to this affect.
You mean
You
like
know?
the audience response to all of this?
Like they're acting like they don't have social media.
Yeah.
They're acting like they don't know that anyone is clowning on them.
Yeah.
You know, which I find a little bit refreshing in a weird way. But obviously it did snowball into a whole lot of memes, which is great to see.
And it's about as inoffensive as something like this can be on the press tour.
Everyone can appreciate it.
If we're talking about all of the other things that were said, whether it was all the stuff about oppression and all of the stuff about that Cynthia Erivo is going on about, this might be the most inoffensive of all of the things. Like I said, the best thing that Barbie had going for it was the meme cycle for it was perfectly in line with helping build a sense of fun around the movie, because it was such a patently insane thing to look at a picture of Barbie blowing up a nuclear weapon.
You know what's silly? They just announced the list of Variety actors on actors.
Yeah,
and
I was looking at it.
They put Cillian Murphy and Margot Robbie together last year when Barbie came out. And now they're putting Ariana Grande and Paul Mescal together for Variety actors on actors because Glicked.
Yeah.
You can't make it happen. You can't force it.
manufacture it.
No one is interested.
Oh, I saw the other one the other day. Holy crap. There's another one. I'll have to come back to it. There's a really funny one coming out like next week. I'll find it later. It's
Okay.
It's better.
Also,
but,
I wanted to share this. New York City's gay men's chorus took the lyrics of Defying Gravity and held space for that.
Okay. Please.
Really holding space with that, and feeling power in that. Really holding space with that. I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how I spread, but you know I am in. Really holding space with me up, so really holding space with that, and feeling power in that.
Lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
I didn't know that.
So
that was happening.
I guess what we found out is that words just don't mean anything
They don't mean
anymore.
anything. No, this is one of these things that I deal with on a daily basis in this job. Is like I read stuff and I'm like, what language not mean anything to anyone anymore?
Yes.
And it's infuriating.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the best thing you could possibly do in the space would be to just speak as plainly as possible.
Well, now there's going to be merch, holding space t-shirts.
Yeah.
You know, we're all holding space for holding space.
To be fair, somebody did leave a comment on like a video recently where they said I was too chatty for a dude. I was like, it's literally my job.
Too chatty for a dude.
Dude, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's the point of like a show where you talk to talk. So
Yeah.
I get it.
It's a podcast.
I get it. Like
It's a podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. Language doesn't mean anything anymore, and everybody writes as if they are putting out flowery prose for everyone to read, when in reality the classics are long gone.
It's not just that. Words don't mean anything anymore, but the takeaway from this is that these people are embarrassing and you should not take them seriously.
No, you shouldn't.
When you watch these interviews, like, you're watching a clown show. You should not take them at their word. They obviously take themselves seriously because they're theater kids, but they are clowns.
Yeah.
They are glorified clowns.
Words to live by. All right,
Yes.
guys, let's move on. We got more stuff to talk about. Barry Keoghan and Sabrina Carpenter.
Last week, we talked about rumors that Sabrina Carpenter is single because allegedly Barry Keoghan, her now ex-boyfriend, cheated on her with an unnamed blonde influencer who is particularly famous on TikTok. At the time, people assumed it was a girl named Brecky Hill. I actually met Brecky Hill when I was on the Whatever podcast, and I was familiar with her game. And she now denies that she had anything to do with this home-wrecking allegation. But since those rumors started that Barry Keoghan cheated on Sabrina Carpenter, Sabrina's fan base has been going absolutely feral. Sabrina Carpenter's stans have been harassing Barry Keoghan and his family, and they cyberbullied him off of social media. Here is his statement that he released after he deactivated his account from getting negativity and harassment. He said, "I can only sit and take so much. My name has been dragged across the internet in ways I usually don't respond to. I have to respond now because it's getting to a place where there are too many lines being crossed. I deactivated my account because I can no longer let this stuff distract from my family and work. The messages I've received, no person should ever have to read them. Absolute lies, hatred, disgusting commentary about my appearance, character, how I am as a parent, and every other inhumane thing you can imagine. Dragging my character and everything I worked extremely hard for and stand for. Talking about how I was a heroin baby and how I grew up, and dragging my dear mother into it also. Knocking on my granny's door. Sitting outside my baby boy's house, intimidating them. That's crossing a line. Each and every day, I work harder to push myself on every level to be the healthiest and strongest person for that boy. I want to provide opportunities for him to learn, fail, and grow. I want him to be able to look up to his daddy, to have full trust in me, and know I will have his back no matter what. I need you to remember he has to read all of this about his father when he is older. Please be respectful to all. Thank you." So that was his statement.
Yeah.
And then he deactivated his social media. I'm not surprised, because Stan accounts are run either by teenagers or adults who have no lives.
But about the people actually showing up to physical locations.
Yeah, these are people with nothing to lose. They have no lives. They have no jobs. Like, I saw this response saying, y'all dragged this man through the mud, showed up to his son's house, made his family feel threatened just because you're obsessed over a relationship that is not yours, and you believe every rumor that you read? Yes. Yes, there are plenty of people who do that because their entire life revolves around stan Twitter culture. And they are jobless losers. These are the jobless losers that run Sabrina Carpenter stan accounts.
Also, a big part of that is, like, when you spend that much time online, it kind of, you disassociate. You disassociate from the actual consequences. Like, there is something very serious about just showing up to a physical location where you weren't invited and then just assuming that you can be there.
Right, they're showing up to his family's home address.
Like, isn't this what the Scientologists used to do? They just follow you around. They wouldn't do anything. They just follow you around.
What was
take
the
pictures,
goal?
Just to make you feel unsafe. Right?
Like, human psychology.
Not Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise would never do that.
Yeah, of course, he would never. He's perfect, uncancelable. But like, human psychology is really scary sometimes because stan culture is the same iteration of, like, cult mindsets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same mentality that someone would have if they're, like, physically mobbing a celebrity in public.
Yeah.
Like,
but doing it digitally.
Right. Like, if Taylor Swift goes to a Starbucks in the middle of a city, people are going to start furiously mobbing her, and, like, they would physically trample her if she didn't have a security detail around her. Why would you do that? What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish?
Why would the person?
Because being the one person out of hundreds mobbing this celebrity, that, you're not going to get to meet or talk to this person. So you're literally just operating off of animal instinct.
Like, I can't have this, therefore I'm going to just see red.
Yeah.
And,
they're just, like, completely blanked out, tunnel vision, like, acting like animals.
And this isn't anything new. Look at the videos, like, when the Beatles landed on American soil and the ladies went crazy.
Yeah, and if you wonder, like, are you really that personally invested in a celebrity relationship? Yes, they are. Yeah. Because they don't have their own relationships to be invested in.
Which is crazy, because it's like, we do this for work, and I can't imagine being that emotional. Like, I actually don't think I could do my job if I was that emotionally invested in anything. Like, a certain part of it requires distance. Like, when I go home from work, I still have to spend time, whether it's looking at stuff on Twitter or looking at stuff when we send articles back and forth. And the only way that works for me is to be able to create distance between myself and the work. Otherwise, you burn out. But since they're just nothing but emotionally involved in the whole thing, it becomes all they are.
I mean, you mentioned the Beatles. This is far from a new phenomenon, but the internet made it so much more extreme.
Oh, yeah. And not to mention the anonymity of it.
Yes.
Does that.
Like, do you remember Cut for Bieber?
No.
You don't remember that hashtag?
No, I
This was like maybe back in 2009 or maybe 2010.
I wouldn't have been paying attention.
When
at the
like
time.
Justin Bieber was still a teenager, the majority of his fan base were like tween or teen girls, and a bunch of dudes on 4chan essentially started this hashtag or this trend in like sort of the primordial social media age, Cut for Bieber, and they were trying to make this trend to convince these girls, these fans, the believers, to do this, and it actually caught on. Like, they saw this because it was being astroturfed, and they actually mimicked that behavior. And that was, I mean, it's 4chan. That was kind of the goal, like, causing chaos. But, like, this is not a new thing at all. And social media is only going to make it worse.
The other thing that I would take into account if I was a celebrity of any sort these days is this should now very narrowly affect your dating options, right? Like if you're Barry Keoghan, just don't date the one with the insane stan accounts. Like date a nice normal celebrity with
there any celebrity that has non-toxic fans?
Musicians tend to have more of the stans.
Right.
I'm saying like if you're gonna date someone, maybe don't date a musician.
Date another actor
would
be your advice?
Look, I was looking at more examples the other night. I don't remember what actor I was looking at that had been, but like another like TV actors. I mean, Barry Keoghan's a movie dude, so he's probably going to have these problems as long as he's working primarily in film and remains a big name, right? But the TV actors really do have it good. Married since like it was Morris Chestnut, because I was watching episodes of Rosewood because the Sherlock or the Watson show that he has is coming out like next month, and I was wondering whether I was going to make episodes on it. I realized he got married at 25. He got married in 1995, still married to this day. Very, very happy, very, very successful within the industry, but without the the insanity.
The experts did find out that you can make a certain benchmark salary and it will increase your happiness.
What was that number?
At the time, they must have calculated this in the 2000s, but at the time it was $70,000 a year. Okay. It's probably higher now due to inflation. But then if you got above a certain benchmark salary, then it had no further effect on your happiness.
But
not negative or positive.
Oh, so it doesn't necessarily affect it negatively, but it doesn't make you happier either.
The security it provides doesn't make you happier. It's the same way with like notoriety, where you reach a certain, you're talking about these TV actors, they don't have as much notoriety as a movie star, and it leaves them in this sweet spot where they can continue working, getting the recognition, and it's like manageable. Yeah. And they can also date their professional equals.
I wonder if that's like,
it doesn't turn into anything like this.
Like, I wonder if that's actually true for the, like for the fame and the money part, right? Because I could see it causing more problems the more money you make. You know, as you know, we don't claim Diddy anymore, but Mo Money Mo Problems. That was a prescient song at the time.
I don't know if I ever claimed Diddy.
Yeah, you know, well, I was more of a Mace guy myself, but yeah, it's I feel like there's a sweet spot in Hollywood for the people that want to work there. Because look, as much as we make fun of them, a lot of them do maybe a lot of them do want to be famous, but a lot of them do also love the work. And they love the art form, and they want to continually practice the art form. And so there's got to be like a sweet spot where you're like, look, to get the really good roles, fame is going to be a byproduct of that. You know, if you're really good at what you do. So I don't envy them. I wouldn't want that in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how they put up with it, but they don't put up with it well, as we keep learning.
Right. Also, at the time that these rumors were going around, Brecky Hill was the main suspect.
Oh, yeah. And she
is now clarified after reposting multiple TikToks fueling the rumors that she was not a homewrecker.
There's a 20 here from Culture Casino. He says, "Cut for Bieber? Sounds like white guys for Kamala. Weird stuff. Isn't any of that just simping for someone in a different form? Attention versus money, different economies." I mean, yeah. Nowadays, though, those feels like those have become more and more connected.
It was a social contagion.
Yes,
that's what it was. There was no like end goal. There was no like. I don't even know if it would be considered simping. It was just mass hysteria, and we've only seen more and more of that as time goes on.
So let's watch this video here.
About like 25 seconds in.
The internet. I just moved to my living room so I can sit. But to put it simply for you all, no, I did not get with Barry. I have never even encountered this man in my life. The only time I've seen him is on my TV screen from watching Saltburn. I reposted this video that showed up on my For You page claiming that I was home wrecking Sabrina Carpenter's relationship just simply because I thought it was so ridiculous. I'm sorry, but if I really was the one getting with Barry, why in the world would I be reposting about it? What I will say, though, is coming from someone who has been cheated on in several different relationships, I would never want to home wreck any relationship or put any girl through that pain. Ever. Ever. But as far as the video goes that I reposted, I was at Boa's Steakhouse with my friends getting dinner, and I decided to review drinks on my Snapchat. And one of the drinks I was reviewing was a margarita, and I think I gave the margarita like a 6 out of 10 because I said it was too salty. Someone, I guess, took that the wrong way and thought I was making a Saltburn reference after finding out that Barry was saying
QAnon is not just for Trump people.
The margarita was too salty. Saltburn, Barry Keoghan.
You know whose fault this is? This is Taylor Swift's fault for encouraging it with the Easter eggs.
At a hotel near Boa. I don't even know. Like, this whole story is so crazy to me. And then another drink I was reviewing happened to be called a Blackberry Smash on the Boa Steakhouse menu, which this person then thought was also a Barry reference. The whole thing is just like crazy to me.
We're gonna find out years later it was actually true. And
it was all real.
Yeah, it was all real. All right.
They found her out. Another like quick aside that's just a pet peeve of mine. I don't really like when people use the term home wrecker in regard to a relationship that doesn't involve they're not Sabrina Carpenter and Barry Keoghan were not even engaged, let alone married, let alone had a home together, let alone had a family together. I just don't like that. It's like, why do you take it so seriously? They were just dating.
I mean, I think it's just language is supposed to be like a shorthand, right? Like it explains the situation.
I'm just saying it would be Barry Keoghan's fault for home wrecking his relationship anyway by cheating on his girlfriend. That would make him the home wrecker.
I mean, technically it makes...
It's kind of placing the blame on somebody else.
If she knows beforehand, she's complicit in that. If she doesn't know, then yeah.
But he should not cheat in the first place if he doesn't want to wreck his relationship. I'm just saying. It's kind of shifting the blame.
All right. All right, let's move on. We got a bunch of other stuff to get into today. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we talked last week about the potential, again, I say potential, race swap casting of Severus Snape in the upcoming Harry Potter television show. Well, a new week is here and the casting choices haven't gotten any better. It's an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, the casting agents over at HBO are incredibly busy right now, looking through thousands of different auditions. The deadline has already passed, and they're looking for the next Hermione Granger, the next Ron Weasley, the next Harry Potter. It's getting complicated because obviously if you can race swap a character, you sure can age swap and gender swap a character too, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah. A 42-year-old man auditioned to play Hermione in the new Harry Potter series.
It was me. I'm not 42, but it was me.
you.
It was me. It was the 38-year-old man who tried to play.
You could do it.
I could pull it off.
Yeah, you could pull it off. Why not? At this point, all bets are off. Why not? Given the sheer volume of applications, there have been some interesting expressions of interest in the roles, particularly that of Hermione, with a 42-year-old man falling at the first hurdle. Had he been successful with his application, he could have been appearing on screen next to the likes of Sir Mark Rylance, Papa Essiedu, and Cillian Murphy, who are all rumored to be part of the star-studded cast. But he didn't get a call back.
Cillian Murphy could definitely play Voldemort. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. All of these actors are too damn young. I don't care what any of you say. They should look elderly. Yeah. Like, I tweeted about it as well. I said, look, the realization I came to was that the easiest people to recast will oddly enough be Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
Really?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think that the easiest people to replace.
Because they're unknown?
Because, yes. So it's replacing the likes of Alan Rickman, replacing the likes of all
Maggie
of these,
Smith.
of Maggie Smith, of Helena Bonham Carter, of all of these actors who were just big names and Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid. Look, you had legendary British actors in... It was like perfect casting, perfect timing for all of this stuff, meaning that it was a perfect storm where all of these actors were extremely good at their job and they're hired for this franchise that is extremely well known. How do you do that now? Well, apparently their choice to do this is to just cast younger. Like, I love Mark Strong. I'm actually in the camp that casting Mark Strong is never a bad idea. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's too young to play Dumbledore, who's always described as basically being ancient, but with youthful movements. Like he's got the movement of a very young person, but the body of a very old person. And the hardest part to do that would be like what? Prosthetics? Are you going to age him up?
They tried to equivocate by saying the actors who played Harry Potter's parents in the original movies were not the same age as the books. The actors that they cast to play his parents were 34 and 43 years old, whereas in the book they were both 21. Yeah. So it hasn't always been exactly matching the canon of the books, right?
I could see the logic being that this is not 1 year, it's going to be over several years, and it's kind of the same argument I make when they talk about James Bond casting. You can't cast a 50-year-old James Bond because he's not supposed to be there for just one movie.
You need longevity.
You need longevity, which I get, but I just think that what we're looking at here, look, Brett Goldstein looks like Adam Levine, not Hagrid, okay?
Yeah, that's... honestly, they're too good looking. Can I say,
Sharon Horgan is a pretty lady. Like,
they look
I just
too
don't
good.
think of, yeah, like I don't want actors like looking like actors in these roles.
Yeah, McGonagall should not be attractive. That's not the point of the character. I don't really get this. Like, why are they serving cunt, low-key?
So one of the funniest things about this whole thing is that as the internet does, it started to devolve. And do you remember? We never ended up talking about it on the show, but there became, I mean, before Hawk Tuah screwed a bunch of people out of money through cryptocurrency, there was this thing where it says Hawk Tuah went viral for, and then it was just a bunch of things that she never said. Do you remember that?
No.
It was like Hawk Tuah went viral
like AI
for...
generated?
No, it was like people would just think about something they care about, and then say Hawk Tuah went viral for saying
like
that we need to end the Fed.
Girl is like saying all of these extremely politically inflammatory statements.
Not even just that, but like very random other things too. So it became a meme. Well, what they're doing now is it's become Harry Potter's cast all these random people. It says Scarlett Johansson has been cast as Dumbledore. In this one, Camelot says Phoebe Waller-Bridge has been offered the role of Harry Potter.
But like, you know, it's gotten to the point where it's beyond parody.
Rachel Zegler has been offered the role of Professor McGonagall.
Like, sure, what the hell?
Yes.
You know? Like, I think that people are just already on their... They're already on edge. You know what I mean? Like, what HBO didn't seem to understand is the fans are having an antagonistic relationship with reboots right now. And the last thing you want to do is make a misstep this early on when it comes to casting.
I don't think it would have ever been possible, but it feels like the best possible thing they could have done is finish the casting and then do the announcements like when it's done.
Right.
Like all
But
at
you also
once.
can't stop people from leaking information either.
Not to mention, like, you want to release the information slowly to keep it in the news for as long as possible.
But here's the thing. Really, normies don't care about J.K. Rowling's opinions.
No.
Normies hardly even pay attention to J.K. Rowling's controversial opinions or her tweets. If they know about them, they don't care. Most of them don't even know.
Yeah.
The thing that normies do feel strongly about is you taking an IP that they loved and grew up with and changing it in any way, shape, or form. So that's where you need to be careful and tread lightly.
It's so
is what
funny.
I'm saying.
This was actually like years before this channel existed, years before we'd ever made a video about any of this stuff. I made the assertion very early on, and I'm talking like 2017, 2018. I said, the people who are telling you that you're a bad person for not wanting race swaps, those are millennials who are going to have their come to Jesus moment when they finally reboot Harry Potter. And I was right, because I'm seeing all of these accounts that are trying to weasel word their way around. They're like, look, normally I don't care. I don't care, but Snape is described as this.
But like,
yeah,
but this time,
yes.
like, maybe we wouldn't do that in
Thank
the thing
you.
that I care about.
Thank you for proving me right again.
Or like there's like a video game character who's just like randomly non-binary, and someone wants to say that this is stupid and that this has gotten out of control. Like this representation stuff is kind of out of control and never should have gotten to this point. But what they say instead is they hedge their statement. They're like, oh, well, like, you know, I get that like non-binary people like exist, but you know, it doesn't need to be like the focus, you know, like it doesn't need, we don't need to like draw focus for that. We don't need a whole space for that.
We don't need to hold space for that.
But it's like, no, just call BS on BS.
Yeah.
Just call a spade a spade. I would appreciate them actually having like a mea culpa moment where they were like, okay, I celebrated this when I didn't care about it.
And
But now I care.
Now I get it.
And they made this statement, the director made a statement at the Max showcase saying, we're going to follow the ethos of the films to source some of the finest British talent and brilliant theater actors that we are lucky to have over generations. So one of the hard and fast rules they're going to follow here is they're only hiring British actors. Something tells me that Papa Essiadu is not of British descent.
Well, I guess they're gonna operate under the premise that he spent most of his life there.
Right, but I don't know, like, what is the importance of it after all?
They're also mentioning Rachel Weisz for Minerva from McGonagall.
Yeah, they had a bunch of
Again, too young.
prospective roles. So Sir Mark Rylance for Dumbledore, but also Mark Strong for
okay.
Dumbledore.
I'm okay with Mark Rylance. I think he could probably work in that role. Look, if the idea here is that they're going to put him in prosthetics for somebody like Dumbledore, they can't get it any worse than the point in the inside joke for anybody that actually loved Harry Potter is in the books when Harry's name gets thrown into the Goblet of Fire and his name comes out. And Dumbledore calmly asks Harry if you put your name in the Goblet of Fire, and Harry says no. In the movie, Dumbledore basically like abuses him. He like runs up and grabs like, "Did you do it?" Which was very obviously not what happened in the books. Things are gonna go this way. I just stop casting such young actors. I think in fact, stop casting such good-looking actors. They should not be. They should not be for the grown-ups.
Usually we're not saying that. Usually we're like, no, like hot people and everything. But that goes for action movies and like rom-coms. Or Barbie. Or what have you. This is different, obviously. You have to go by the way that they're described in the books.
My other tweet was I posted a picture of the dwarves from the upcoming Snow White, and I said HBO about to cast the Gringotts goblins. Because how are they going to do that?
I mean, like, Brett Goldstein is like spindly. Like, he's not even, like, Hagrid is... what, like 8 feet tall and 500 pounds?
Yo, look, the Undertaker is retired now from wrestling. Get the Undertaker to play Hagrid.
Like, why are we casting a twink as Hagrid?
I think that I can't wait for the casting of the goblins. And if they're gonna race swap, just do the whole Weasley family since they're redheads and get it all out of the way. If you must do it,
get it out of your
system and just race swap the whole Weasley family.
Do you think they're going to like hair color swap Ron Weasley?
No.
Is it too central to the character?
They didn't even get Harry's eye color right in the movies, and it's one of the biggest parts of his character in the books. It's one of the most common ways they used to describe him as having the green eyes like his mom.
Maybe they'll get the eyes right this time.
That like if not, they'll even if the actor didn't want to put in contacts or something like that, they'll CGI it. It's just be way easier now.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
So. We will wait and see. It's going to be very interesting. I do support the idea of Cillian Murphy as Voldemort.
Well, was that confirmed or is it all just
no.
like
I just think that's great fan casting.
Leaked
He's got the look. So
He definitely does.
it's look, I love this because it gives us endless material to cover on this channel up until the show comes out. Long before the show comes out, we will have endless stuff to talk about, but they are not endearing themselves to people early on if it's already become a meme about who they're casting. So
Yeah.
all
J.K.
right.
Rowling needs to like do something. She needs to like get this under control.
Al-
Stamp out this fire.
Al says Jack Black as Hagrid. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't even speak that into existence.
Wait, but if they could get him a dialect coach and
make him-
like
well, you'd have to be way taller.
do some camera angles creatively to make him look taller,
Yeah.
it might actually work.
And then also Mads Mikkelsen wouldn't be a horrible Voldemort either. Those are
Well,
both
Ralph
great options.
Fiennes actually made a comment about the Cillian Murphy rumors. He was like, I support it 100%. Like, he should play him.
For sure. All right.
So.
Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cute first.
Cute first? All right. All right. I pulled up some here today. First one's first. It says, John has been sitting here and waiting to be cute of the day. Well, who am I to deny? Thank you.
I love it. I love when cats sit like that. His tummy is just out.
Yeah.
It's octopus mode. I love it.
Well, he is now cute of the day.
That looks comfortable.
John looks very, very comfortable there. Thank you.
A cat named John. Like, that's really funny to me for some reason.
All right. Brick says, Brett, greetings from Eagan, Minnesota. This is Roscoe, a.k.a. Roscopotamus. It's a great name. His love has gotten me through 4 spinal surgeries, and he is an avid watcher of PCC, so he's pretty cool to be around. Well, I'm glad that he helped you get through the surgeries, my friend. I hope you're all right.
He looks very fluffy.
And greetings to you in Eagan, Minnesota. I'm from Woodbury, so I wasn't too far away out there, 30 minutes away.
Is that close?
Yeah, fairly. I had friends who skated in Eagan, so that whole area, Eagan, Burnsville.
Thank you
thank
for
you.
watching, Roscopotamus. We appreciate
One more.
you.
This one's from Honest Adams.
Aw.
Says, cute of the day. It's a classic right there.
Very polite with the hands folded.
That's how Toast sits most of the time.
So demure.
That's how Toast sits
so
most
mindful.
of the time. All right, let's do the cringe of the day here.
This one's pretty bad.
It's, oh man, she's prefaced beforehand. It must be awful. Here we go. And if you're listening rather than watching, it says, the bride and groom wrapped their vows. God, that was all.
You want something real.
Yeah, turn that music up a little bit.
Connected in higher planes. You elevate my vibe. I'm down to give you everything. My service comes in full supply. Praying with your hands in mine. Our hearts become aligned. Your Taurus love opens my eyes. I am a goddess by your side.
Remember when us with the bush? Sit aside when our brains wide open. Gave you my heart and the Lord is the Leo Queen. The soul stands, burning with love in the morning.
Okay, until he started talking about the psilocybin, I was mortified. Now it makes perfect sense. You know, whatever. It was really, I mean, it's still cringe, but it was way cringier until that part.
So much more to compulsion. Heaven we live in is golden, and my soul spin like, do you want something real?
Yeah.
Hey, will you tell me how you feel?
Yeah.
We love me every day.
Yeah.
We buy your heady pay.
Yeah.
I hope.
The backup vocals that's what did it for me.
Okay. I'm gonna actually say I'm gonna give them my stamp of approval as long as they promise to argue in the same, like, as long
They're
as they
gonna argue
as
in
long as
rap
they rap
form?
vocal their
They're
arguments
gonna do
as
epic
well.
rap battles of
Yes,
history.
That's my hope.
Um
Okay, thank you for that.
Wow. I didn't even know like it was gonna be that bad because I watched like the first 5 seconds and then I was like, yep, this is cringe of the day.
Yeah,
I just knew.
It's
I felt it in my
definitely,
bones.
I see it right here in the chat. Says this is reggae, not rap. Well, yeah. I mean, as mentioned by the
Is
psilocybin.
it? I don't know.
Again, I hope they as long as they solve all their arguments by also rap battling.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, on a quick serious note, about a month back, we talked about a new lawsuit filed against Diddy by an anonymous accuser. Now she is still anonymous, but there were 2 unnamed celebrities also mentioned in that lawsuit. One of them is just revealed to be Jay-Z. This alleged victim was 13 years old at the time of this incident, It was at a VMAs after party in the year 2000. As I said at the time, and I will repeat again, I have no idea why a 13-year-old girl would be present at a VMAs after party at any point. Where are the parents? This is a travesty in and of itself. She was drinking, and allegedly, after having one drink, she found a bedroom to rest and was followed there by Diddy. And these two unnamed celebrities, one of them female and one of them allegedly Jay-Z. People are saying the female celebrity is Beyonce, which would track if this is true. They followed her in there, and Diddy allegedly held her down, and they took turns assaulting her while the female celebrity watched. And now this accuser is an adult and is ready to come forward with these allegations. This was filed back in October. But now that Jay-Z has been revealed to be the other unnamed celebrity, he feels it's his time to publicly respond rather than ignore.
And one of the big things in this whole situation is that it is still an unnamed accuser. That's a big part of this.
The craziest part, by the way, of that filing is the accuser claims that Diddy grabbed her and said, "Are you ready to party?" That's the craziest part, I think, that stuck with me after reading through it. But anyway, over the weekend, Jay-Z released the following statement and then promptly deleted it. I assume after his lawyers told him to. But here's what he said. My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a quote-unquote lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby. But I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I am more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims, and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake psychics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable.
I don't actually think he understands how many people are ready to believe this. Like, the amount of people, again, this is tied to Diddy, and nobody's giving Diddy the benefit of the doubt these days. Like, it is, from what I've seen online, there's been, look, this is not the Johnny Depp case where people were looking to push back against the claims that
public opinion is not on his
public
side.
opinion is not on his side. I can't pass judgment one way or the other because I have not seen the evidence. I don't know what is true in this case. All I can speak to you about is what the goings on are online, and the goings on are not that, you know, he deserves the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Whatever you make of that.
And even before Jay-Z was named in this particular lawsuit, he was still being named all over the place in speculative social media posts regarding Diddy's accusations. because they have been friends and colleagues.
Lots of
for
people said
decades.
like, if you think Diddy's bad, wait till they get to Jay-Z.
Especially like Jay-Z and Beyonce as sort of a criminal power couple. This is the image that people have built up in their minds, and not one that I necessarily disagree with because I don't know. But here was one of the responses on Twitter. That message Jay-Z posted was condescending, narcissistic, and used victim blaming and gaslighting rhetoric, and he never not once said that he didn't do it. I hope he goes down bad. So that's true. In that entire statement that he posted at Tony Busby, he didn't deny the allegations.
Did he victim blame?
I didn't see that either.
He seemed to be focused on the lawyer, not
I didn't see that either.
on the lawyer. There's no victim to blame because the victim has not been identified yet.
But he didn't outright say, like, I didn't do this. He actually just did a character assassination on Tony Busby. Not saying things we haven't thought of before, though.
Yeah.
Because this guy, Tony Busby, this lawyer from Texas, he has filed, like, over 100 lawsuits, over 100 civil lawsuits against Diddy at this point. And the way that he's going about it is he is asking for settlement payments first, proceedings later.
Yeah.
Like, if you pay out, you can get off scot-free. This isn't going to become public information. That's definitely a coercive tactic. And I just was confused because he seemed to appear out of nowhere and suddenly represent all of these people. There are so many Diddy accusers at this point. It's countless. You could fill an auditorium with Diddy accusers, some of whom are credible and others are not, inevitably. Some of them are fakers. So Tony Busby actually posted his own response to Jay-Z after the Rock Nation posts. He posted a picture of himself, actually, in his Marine uniform. He said, "Recognize this guy? This is a picture of the Weapons Platoon Commander, Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 4th Marines from our Old Western Pacific cruise book. Despite a coordinated and aggressive effort that has included harassing my kids, contacting my clients and former clients to encourage them to sue me, contacting my colleagues or former employees asking if I have abused them, showing up at my current employees' homes to harass them, filing frivolous cases against me and my law firm, defaming me with outrageous assertions to anyone who will listen, and having mysterious people follow me and my family, I'm still that guy. I won't be bullied or intimidated. People will see through this effort to discredit me and my clients, and the truth will be revealed. I also won't allow anyone to scare my clients into silence. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I am quite certain the sun is coming." That sounded like that one like Navy SEAL copy pasta that was like, "What the F did you just effing say about me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class." Like, it literally sounded like that copy pasta.
And now, in response to that, Jay-Z's lawyers are talking about how the identity of the accuser needs to come out.
Right. Jay-Z's lawyers are pushing for Jane Doe to go public, and most of these accusers are still anonymous.
Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, or is it Spiro? Do we know? I've seen that name before. Filed documents on Monday morning asking the judge to make the plaintiff reveal herself in the docs obtained by TMZ. He says, "Fair is fair. It is not consistent with justice, fairness, or the rules governing federal proceedings for the plaintiff and her counsel to smear Jay-Z's good name."
I would also like to know who the unnamed female celebrity is who
is
watched
that one,
this happen.
Is that one going to come last? Is that the last name that's going to come out?
Or she was either a witness or some kind of complicit actor in the situation.
Yeah.
If it happened at all, who knows?
All of it is just so it's just so gross and over the top that it's hard to believe. But again, I don't know how to pass judgment on all of this one way or the other, because it always comes back to what people think of them. It's very hard for me to say that, given that I've never met the guy and I don't have any, evidence to the contrary other than what has been said about him in the past. Now, I know that there's been a lot of stuff said about Jay-Z, about how he came to be as famous as he is. But with Diddy, the thing that really, really turned for him was the video in the hotel. It's very hard to come back from that video and have people be like, well, it's all just a smear. Because then people see that video and they're like, look, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt.
But also, that video aside, public opinion was already against Diddy before it came out.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of guys who beat up their girlfriends and they aren't pedophiles.
But the point is having it against your, like, having that on record makes it very hard to get the average person to go to bat for you.
I do just feel like there is a lot of moral equivocating happening here, and things are already getting way too muddled. Like, there are all of these engagement bait posts about Jay-Z now, claiming, like, people are claiming that Jay-Z is, like, confirmed a predator against children because he met Beyonce when she was 16 and he was, 28?
Yeah.
And they allege that Jay-Z was a predator for that reason, and that he groomed Beyonce into their relationship.
I mean, knowing her prior to her being 18 does kind of fall in line with how people will take that.
All of that aside, like, that was extremely normal back then in the 90s. Regardless of anything, I don't think it's, like, not weird. I definitely think it's weird, but you are equivocating in that circumstance, like, him marrying her when she was 18 to him...
Or dating her when she's... I don't know when they got married.
Whatever. Like, dating her when she was 16 to 18. And this alleged incident involving a 13-year-old child. It's like...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, let the accusation stand on its own.
Yeah.
Instead of adding all of this other stuff.
One of the big things that was happening last night is there was endless threads about Jay-Z's behavior going out on X,
right.
You know, talking about his the things he's done wrong in his life. Look, I also saw 50 Cent got in the mix and said, he goes, is the Super Bowl still happening? Asking for a friend. So given that he's loved to watch the downfall of Diddy, I hardly doubt that he's above wanting to see the downfall of Jay-Z as well.
I forgot. So Jay-Z had the Super Bowl halftime show?
Was that him this year? I don't remember.
But like this upcoming one?
Was that him?
I don't remember now.
But the point is a lot of people are already discussing this, and it's going to get messy. It's going to be a whole thing, and this isn't going to go away. This isn't going to just disappear overnight, not with it being tied directly to Diddy, which is going to be ongoing for years to come.
Right. Do you think that Tony Busby is sketchy?
I mean, the sheer number of people makes it seem hard to believe that he's not, you know, like, is the idea here... He
cannot possibly be verifying all of their accusations.
It's enough to put the radar up, to put the antenna up and be like, this doesn't all seem on the up and up. But given that we can't know that outside of just, you know, covering the broad strokes of the facts here, and all I can really focus on is what the public sentiment is going to be. And it seems like right now, being tied to Diddy in the way that he is, it's going to be very hard to keep public sentiment on their side. I saw more people seemingly concerned about how Beyonce would come out of this than caring about whether Jay-Z was okay.
Well, she has her own allegations too, which we have talked about. My personal opinion, though, knowing what we know about celebrities, I disagree with Jay-Z. All celebrities are the same. And I don't trust any of them.
No, I think what he means is, like, he's not just a celebrity. He's a businessman and an entrepreneur and one of the richest people in that industry. And he's not going to just cower and do a little payoff to clear his name. I think that's more what he was saying.
But the way I mean it, at least, is all celebrities are the same. They are cut from the same cloth in that they have no moral compass. Yeah. And they do engage in deviancy most people can't imagine and have never even witnessed. And I would not put it past him, is all I'm saying. Not that I know one way or the other. We still have no idea who this person even is. But I just have a feeling that Jay-Z has skeletons in his closet. That's not that much of a stretch.
I mean, it's also, look, to get to that level of success, there's usually... something. Look, that's what that's what literally everybody was saying about what happened to the insurance, the insurance CEO. They're like, you don't get to that level of success without, skeletons. Some corruption of some sort. Whether that's true or not, I don't know if that's true of that guy. I just know that you usually don't reach Jay-Z's level without stepping on some toes. I'm not even saying crimes. I'm saying just hurt feelings, bad business deals that went your way and not theirs, all of which can add up to people having sour grapes, or it could be worse, and you could actually just be an awful person.
Yes.
And there could be those types of skeletons.
People who have their evil eye set on him.
There are different types of skeletons in this case.
Right. Let's read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. I watched and reviewed the Mary movie. At first, I thought it was just mid, but as I wrote the review, I found more and more to dislike. I give it 2 stars out of charity."
Oddly enough, I'm kind of the same way when it comes to when I come to review things. I tend to, what would be the word for it? I tend to more like crystallize my thoughts more clearly the more I write about something.
Well, I want to know why you disliked the Mary movie, because I haven't heard anything about it since the trailer came out. It didn't exactly make a huge impression. I was thinking about watching it, but I don't know if I care enough. I had higher hopes because the filmmaker is Catholic and he seems to really believe in it.
Maybe if there had been a really good glowing review there, you would have checked it out.
Yeah, if you had something positive to say, I might give it a chance, but I want to know what problems you had with it. Feel free to spoil it for me. I don't really care.
3/4 of the way to a crisis party, guys.
We'll see. Weary Traveler said, "Under Mary's dome management, the only vice we will be able to have is black coffee and cigarettes, which is all you really need."
What about Zins? Is that under a blanket policy?
Zins are, you'll give those to school children. That's like nothing.
Don't do it.
No, you can also have soju.
Yeah. We were
Yeah.
talking about that.
That's another one. I'm on board with this. Adolfo Batista said, "Brett, have you tried the Mexican Fritos?"
No, but I've had the Mexican street corn Cheetos, which are delicious.
Street corn Cheetos?
They're so good.
Do they taste like corn?
They taste like something.
Well, they are made of corn anyway.
Yeah, they taste delicious, and everybody should have them.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Weary Traveler, it will be black coffee, Zins, 24-hour stores that only close on Sundays and holy days of obligation. I am fine with this. Bring it on."
I was so upset. We were like, I knew it was closed, but Chick-fil-A was so well lit with Christmas lights the other day on Sunday. I was like, oh, if only you were open. But of course it can't be because it's Sunday.
I literally I know it's so stereotypical, but I only want Chick-fil-A on Sundays.
Weird how that works.
And I truly would be all for, like, everything should be 24 hours except on Sundays.
Close the rest of the day or all day
Close
on Sunday.
all day Sunday, 24 hours the rest of the time. We would get used to it.
Well, maybe in Mary's
that's in my utopia.
In her utopia. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact.
Pamela Anderson has been very public about her dedication to aging gracefully and naturally in the public eye. She has gone makeup free for years now, except for very rare occasions. And at a recent film festival, she did an interview about this and her new conception of what it means to be beautiful. And it received a lot of attention. Some of it was negative. So let's take a look at this video first.
Which one? Is it this one here?
From Alpha Fox.
Okay, here we go.
Having famously opted against wearing makeup in recent years, how did it feel to put it back on for this film?
Oh, for the film?
Yeah.
I mean, I love to wear makeup too sometimes. It's just a time and a place. I just feel in my personal life it just didn't really make sense.
What's your definition of beauty these days?
Being brave and living your dreams. It's never too late to never give up.
She's holding space for that comment because that doesn't make any sense either.
Hey, did you know it's never too late to never give up?
That
Brett?
has nothing to do with beauty.
It's never too late to never give up.
I hate these people. I hate these people because they can't say what they mean.
Beauty is when you live your dreams.
Ugh.
You know, she's not the brightest knife in the drawer, but she has the spirit.
She did make barbed wire, so.
She has the spirit, for sure. She seems like such a pleasant, warm person, though. And obviously, Pamela Anderson is not the sex symbol that she used to be at 57 years old. That is not a surprise to anyone, including her. And she is, you know, Pamela Anderson is not out here saying with a megaphone, "Hey everybody, I'm just as hot as I was when I was 25.
Correct.
She is not making statements like that. But for some reason, responses like this rolled in. Myron Gaines tweeted, "The wall is un-effing defeated. Women truly do age like milk, especially white blondes. Ladies, get married and have children before it's too late. This woman was an icon in the 1980s and 1990s Baywatch." And he posted this before and after photo from her in her heyday to her now as a woman in her late 50s. No one is surprised that people get less hot when they age. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not a surprise to anyone, most especially her. Yeah, having been worldly, like, having been actually a world-renowned symbol of beauty and sexuality, I don't think she is surprised that she isn't as hot as she used to be.
She doesn't seem to be, like you said, blasting the megaphone, talking about how, oh, in reality, we're all just the same and you're all just as attractive in your 60s as you are in your 20s. She's not doing that. No. So I don't really think of this as much of anything.
Like, where does this kind of wrath come from?
What do you from, like, from him? Or from...
Right. Like
I don't know.
I also just, I want to understand how this is convincing anyone to do anything. He's saying in this post that you should get married and have children before it's too late. Pamela Anderson did that. Mm-hmm. So what's the lesson to be learned here? If you age like milk and then become...
I think there's just something to be made out of the discussion that whenever she is in the news, this does come up. So,
right, and it's weird. Like, why her specifically?
Well, I mean, because she very blatantly goes out without the makeup, and whether she admits it or not, she knows that it will be a form of discussion that comes up. Like, whether she actually desires that conversation to happen or not, I can't say. I can't know for sure, right? But it has become a huge part of her brand right now. She has rebranded to this type of social influencer that is no longer just about physical beauty, but is about acceptance, self-acceptance and stuff like that. So in a way, I think that even whatever your market is, whether you're Myron Gaines, whether you're a red pill dude, or whether you're a feminist, you're going to take the story and you're going to talk about it within your value system. And what you're seeing here is his response to her turning from one marketing scheme, which is physical beauty and being a sex symbol, to another. Again, whether she desires this or not, this is what has happened. And that's just the point of contention.
She represented one thing, now she represents a different thing.
I don't think it's a huge deal, to be completely honest. I think that
I guess some people are just saying that it's contradictory, and I don't see where the contradiction is.
Oh, he's saying she's being contradictory. I mean...
So here's the thing. The message of this post...
I mean, I didn't see him say anything about her being contradictory, but
the implication is that there's a contradiction between her being hot then and her not being hot now. And the message behind the post is, yeah, she does. She looks incredible for 57. Actually, I would kill to look as good as Pamela Anderson when I'm at that age. But it's weird to me that the message behind this post is like, ladies, you're inevitably on the track to being valueless if you lose your physical attractiveness. But you should get married and have children before that happens. And then what? Like, then you're just promised that no one's going to see any worth in you as innately anyway. So why would you bother trying to get married if the man that you marry would see you as, like, this is only if you take them at their word, right? Yeah. If the man you marry sees you as valueless because you're not hot anymore anyway, well, what would be the use in that?
The logic used to be, right, that she gives you her best years, of beauty and children, and he protects you and takes care of you once you leave those best years and are aging. And that was a discussion to be had in a time when women didn't have careers and didn't have lives of their own. The contrary statement here is more about a life built off that beauty and then selling it down to people who aren't doing that, right? So saying to a woman who's working at a marketing department to get married now because she's not going to be beautiful in 10 years is different than saying it to somebody who's a model now and saying in 10 years you're not going to be beautiful anymore, therefore society won't value you anymore. It's just I think that this discussion is actually probably too specific and layered to actually have it in just a few minutes. Like, you'd have to take specific examples, but it all ends up getting tied in together. I don't think it's that serious. I think that she has moved on to this new way of marketing herself. Again, she's acting more than she did years ago, right? She's a commodity again now, much like Jennifer Coolidge became a commodity in her later years at the perfect time in Hollywood, because they love to talk about age. Like, we did a story on Friday that was talking about, it was another one of these diversity reports from the Gina Davis Institute, which is an actual thing. And it was talking about like the roles and, you know, which demographics are getting these roles. And one of them, it was about the age demographic of roles going to women over a certain age. I'm like, are you kidding me? Michelle Yeoh never stops working. She's literally probably filming a movie right this second. And there's a lot of work in Hollywood now for women that are not just in their 20s like it used to be. So maybe for the average person, maybe not for like what this discussion is that it rings as disingenuous because society, especially Western society, feminist society, has worked very hard to break down barriers amongst all of these things, that when they're still talking about it, it comes across as disingenuous. It's like, look, we've been doing this for like 20 years now. We've been confronting stereotypes and confronting misconceptions about this, and that for ages, and everyone's just kind of sick of it.
You can only break so many glass ceilings.
Exactly.
After all. Yeah, I agree. I mean, one last thing on the whole red pill message behind, you know, Pamela Anderson hitting the wall. It really rings disingenuous to me because you're selling completely discordant messages to both men and women, because you're screaming at the women that you better get married and have children, but then what you're telling the men, on the other hand, is don't, for the love of God, ever get married or have children because you can't trust women. So what exactly happens if people believe you? You know? Yeah. Then everyone is effed. If the people that were reached by this message took him at his word and took his advice, none of the men would get married and none of the women would get married.
Yeah.
Or the opposite would happen. I guess the women, how do we work through this? You're telling all the men that they should never get married, but you're also telling the women that they need to get married or else they're worth nothing.
It doesn't follow.
It doesn't work. Conclusion. It doesn't follow up to a conclusion. But I think what Pamela Anderson is doing is great, actually, because...
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, I do.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's tired. And
I think she's not very smart. But what she's doing is great because it's going against the grain of what we normally see in Hollywood.
Meaning that she's not over the top about it?
No, I mean, she's going against the grain of what we normally see from women in Hollywood when they get older.
Oh, because she's accepting that she's aging rather than trying to stay younger. Trying to be forever young.
Yes, what we normally see from women getting older in Hollywood is an example like Madonna, who makes herself into a walking monstrosity by getting extreme fillers and Botox and plastic surgery and piling on the makeup and the hair extensions, etc., the fake eyelashes. And it all gets to a point where, you know, you would be much better off just accepting the fact that you are aging, right? Pamela Anderson, on the other hand, she's a natural beauty, but she has accepted that she is aging.
Like Halle Berry?
Publicly. And she has not made herself into this archetype of a woman desperately clinging to her youth. Yeah. Because that's undignified. And I think what we really need to understand collectively is that you can gracefully transition from archetype to archetype throughout your life, because different stages call for different things. It's like she said, there's a time and place for putting on the makeup.
This was just never a thing 25 years ago because you had a career at one time and then just didn't keep going. Like male actors and some of the women actors, I guess, would have long careers if they were really, really good. Look at like a Robert De Niro is like still acting and you're like, how are you even still alive, let alone still acting? Like him and Pacino and stuff like that. But now moving beyond that, you don't just end up as a career as one thing anymore. You're not just an actor anymore. You're an actor, you're a social media personality, you're this, and that. So it's a natural byproduct of a career that can no longer allow them to just be one thing anymore.
Well, there was another example of this getting posted simultaneously with Pamela Anderson. Marissa Tomei is 60 years old, and she was posing in this video with a low-cut skirt, kicking her leg up in the air. Obviously, she does not look 60.
No.
That much needs not be said. She looks really good for 60. Like, I honestly would have guessed that she was like in her mid-30s.
Yeah, I just rewatched Spider-Man Civil War, or Captain America Civil War recently, and all of the Aunt May jokes are very, very prevalent in that movie.
Yeah. So there were a lot of men going feral over this.
That's what they're doing. That's what so Harry Potter is taking the Captain America Civil War route for casting rather than the Harry Potter route for casting.
I'm looking at the replies, and like the men are just like going feral, like a wooga for this woman. And I don't know, maybe she has some anti-aging tips, but she doesn't have much insight anywhere else, because on the other hand, Marissa Tomei has not had any children, and she has openly said that she opposes marriage as an institution. So she is actually more so the archetype of the woman clinging on to being a maiden.
Yeah.
The ordinary transition of female archetypes is you start off as a maiden, and then you become a mother, and then you become a matriarch.
Yeah.
And you can gracefully transition from one to the next. But if you resist that, it is obvious to everyone that you are not embodying the correct archetype for your age. That seems to be what's happening here, and that's why people find it disturbing.
Yeah, I think conservatives on the face are going to have that natural kind of a more visceral reaction. The idea that she's clinging to youth, right? And that it's simultaneously, that it's synonymous with a bit of with being vacuous and a bit self-obsessed, and that there's going to be a shallowness to it. And I think what they tell themselves, or what people tell themselves, is that that means she's going to end up cold and alone, right? That's depending on how you view the world, and if you think that she's doing the wrong thing. Again, this is what I'm assuming that people in this space who have very traditional beliefs would think, is that by her making the mistake of not following the traditional path, she's going to end up cold and alone. But let's face it, life is very, very busy and noisy now. And there's actresses working into their 80s and 90s that are doing plenty fine and keep their lives plenty busy. I think it's a cope to think that she would end up completely alone with nothing to that's what I feel like a lot of them think is going to happen, is they're going to end up regretting their choices.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a solid argument to be made that that's not going to be true of all of them, especially when as successful as she is.
But you also can't meaningfully regret your choice if you don't know the alternative.
Yes. So maybe, at night when her head hits the pillow, she feels a little bit of regret sometimes, but life is busy, and I don't know if that's enough to really change things for her.
We have a 20 from Carnell. I'm under the impression that the vast majority of people online are expecting Pam Anderson to end up looking like her Baywatch co-star Donna D'Errico.
Yeah.
There is a clear distinction. Google her for reference.
Yes, Donna D'Errico. She's very, very successful on OnlyFans now and does not look her age, looks much younger. And
well, I'm glad that Pam Anderson isn't on OnlyFans. That would be highly undignified. But what you were saying about Marissa Tomei is true. I will totally grant that she looks incredible for 60, and once again, like, I would kill to look that good at her age. But this says, in a 2009 interview, Marissa Tomei stated she is not a fan of marriage as an institution and doesn't understand why women need to have children to be seen as complete human beings.
Their focus there is always on how they're seen rather than how she feels about it. Like, if she had said, I don't understand why women feel the innate need to have children to feel like complete human beings, that's a more prescient question than how you're perceived.
Right. Yeah, you shouldn't have children just to be seen a certain way.
You should do it because it's something you truly want.
Do it to love your children. Yeah, and then a friend also said that she never truly pursued marriage or having children, even in her 20s, and that work has really been her life force. She has been in a long-term relationship but has never had children, and that is her choice. It's not reversible now. Again, you can't meaningfully regret making a choice like that if you would never know what it would be like in the circumstance that you did have children. You don't know what it's like to be a parent until you are one.
I do think that a lot of times we hear more often than not that I think Tim covered a video the other week about he talked about some lady who she became a lawyer, and she literally just did it because somebody told her that she was never going to be able to. So she did, and now she does TEDx talks about how it was the worst decision she ever made, and she regrets it, and she regrets not having a family and all that stuff. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of examples like that, but there's also going to be the examples of the ones who just never thought that way, was successful enough where the doubts may only creep in at night once in a while, but this is the one of the most pressing questions of the time now, is like, where does the regret actually kick in for somebody like that? Because even if she is, she's not going to admit it. Very likely not going to admit it. So
right.
I guess as a dude, my natural instinct is to I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to worry tonight about whether Marissa Tomei regrets her life decisions.
I don't think I will either.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
not because you're a dude. It's because you don't know her.
But I'm saying, like these, it's a point of our job to talk about it. But whatever choices she made, I'm going to just say, I hope she made the one that makes her the happiest, and go on with my day.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Shane H. Wilder said, as far as the Wicked cast goes, remember that the Greek for actor is Hippocrates or hypocrite. Therefore, I am not surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's funny. Corey Anderson said, I'm holding space for Justice and Mocha.
Well, neither.
You're not holding space
I don't know who
for
Justice is, but
Mocha.
you cannot hold space for Mocha at all. It's not. Though Mocha did jump in a box this weekend, and it was pretty adorable.
That's just what cats
I know,
do.
but Mocha does not normally jump into the box. Sometimes I will place Mocha in the box, and then Mocha will jump out of the box. But Mocha jumped in the box, and it was quite good.
Professor Freakoff said that theater looks like an Alex Rosen Sting op.
The what?
What theater?
What theater?
I don't know what that means. Okay. Pat the Plumber said, Brett, your takes on IRL last night were way too polished for you to call yourself a normie. Sorry, homie.
I am still the closest thing to normie that you're going to get in this space here.
That's not true, and you're not a normie. You can't... There's no such thing as a normie in this space. There's no such thing.
I'm normie adjacent.
You're not. You're not even adjacent. It's not... No, not even close. Okay? You watch brain rot memes on Instagram... You know what knee surgery it means.
I still have no idea what it means. I just know that it exists. I don't know where the meme came from. Actually, you know what?
You flatter yourself to think you're a normie. You never have been.
I got 7. Somebody saying that it was day 7 of them requesting brain rot. Like they keep requesting me to bring back daily brain rot. So I don't have a good one, but I'll play one here. I do have one.
Okay.
Hold, please.
Thank you.
Eating the dogs, you're eating the cats. Eat the cat, you eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Let's get a second crisis party!
Eat the cat, they're eating the dogs, you're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
All right, here we go. Actually, let me turn the mic.
Chill guy. This is my chill guy pose. I'm a chill guy. I like my suitcase. Those who know, Bruz has knee surgery tomorrow. Bruz literally has knee surgery tomorrow. Jobs, bro, jobs. Employment, bro, employment. Bro, I understand it now. I literally understand it now, bro.
I actually was saying that I like my suitcase
I know.
thing.
Last week.
I have the verbal tick. I have the brain rot disease.
Yep.
Oh no.
All right.
This is a bad sign.
Let's do one more.
Pat the Plumber said, also thoughts on Thunderbolts.
I thought that was you who sent me, who tweeted about it to me, and I thought I responded. Maybe the tweet didn't go through. Bucky should have gotten a solo film. I was still more interested in Captain America: Brave New World out of all of them, even with the $8 gazillion in reshoots and the constant problems. Like, if they can just get back to a basic, bare bones, superhero spy-esque type movie, you know, without any of the identity politics, it could be all right. But again, I don't have any faith that's going to happen. I don't want to see Sebastian Stan stuck in ensemble casted movies. I just don't. Like, as great of an actor as he is and as much great work as he's done as Bucky, I thought he earned himself the ability to take that character and do a more in-depth movie with him as the lead rather than playing second to Chris Evans. But we're not getting that, so we get the Thunderbolts. And I'll see it. Maybe the idea is that this ends up being the sleeper hit because nobody's talking about it, so maybe it'll be good. But if I had to guess... it will be more akin to Black Widow than it will be to Captain America Winter Soldier.
Corey Anderson said Brecky Hill is a dumb name. It shouldn't be allowed.
That's very authoritarian.
She insisted it was her real name, too. Like that her parents...
named her Brecky?
Actually named her Brecky?
Oh, all right.
I don't know where that comes from, but I kind of agree. It's kind of a dumb name.
All right. Let's move on.
All right. So... Lana Del Rey is still a newlywed. She is newly married to her Republican husband, Jeremy Dufresne, in Louisiana. And I think unfairly, Lana Del Rey has faced a lot of backlash for marrying a Republican. He is openly a Trump supporter, and I can only guess that she isn't just okay with that. I have to guess that she is sympathetic to his views as well. And coming from a very far left place like the music industry, I understand that she is not in friendly company when it comes to that type of decision. So while she was giving a speech presenting an award to Jack Antonoff, her music producer, at Variety's Hitmakers event, she credited Jack Antonoff's example with encouraging her to get married to what she describes as an honest partner. And this is something that she says she needed. She needed to find a spouse like this because she works in a morally bankrupt industry, which is the music industry. And I totally understand where she's coming from with that.
You need some type of something to hold on to that's real.
So let's take a look at that clip on X.
Waited so long to get married and why I met my amazing husband, and I really feel like there's kind of a singer's curse around like meeting an honest partner who has no skin in the game, no dog in the race, and it's super nerve-wracking to have to kind of hold on to an innocent perception of how things could go when you're in an industry where maybe your values and your morals don't quite match up with what's going on. He's a big...
Shocking.
So this says, Lana Del Rey on her marriage with her Republican husband, "Oh, Lana, we know your secret and we support you." So they think that Lana Del Rey is secretly based. And I kind of agree. You can't be married to a Trump supporter and have any hatred in your heart for them because of that.
I did see something that like they attached that speech to like a tweet that said Lana will perform Amazing Grace at Trump's inauguration. I'm like, well, that sounds fake.
Wait, really? That would be
amazing.
Kind of incredible. Yeah. That would be a moment in Americana.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's true, by the way, guys. it was something I saw.
I like that she also seems to have adopted this Southern accent from him as well.
Is it rubbing off on her?
Like I never heard her talk like that until the last couple of years, but she just has a powerful energy about her now that she is in this relationship.
I mean, she has a pretty great energy in general, meaning that she has a very unique, like she seems to effortlessly embody the rebel attitude that so many of the likes of a Halsey manufactures.
Wait, a what?
Like an independent attitude. Like an independent attitude towards the industry. She feels independent from the industry in a way that Halsey tries to be, where it comes off as disingenuous.
Well, I watched the rest of this speech, and the most endearing thing about it is she was admitting that she has been ignorant of the way the music industry works for years now. And
how can you be in the industry and be ignorant of it? That doesn't sound real to me. But
literally, she credited Jack Antonoff with telling her that you have to submit to win a Grammy.
Oh yeah, she's like, I didn't know. I thought they just put you in there. If
She
it was
had
good.
no idea that that was a thing. And I like that she never seemed ambitious. She was just creative.
Mm-hmm.
And she never seemed snarky. She always seemed vulnerable.
Snarky is the word. Like, if you asked me the number one way to kill any interest of anything in Hollywood for me, man or woman, is snark. Because it's anti-vulnerability. It's designed as some type of cover from putting yourself out there. That was what I was talking about when I said one of my issues with millennials is they seem to love irony because it allows them to hide themselves. And the only time they're ever truly vulnerable is when they're talking about nostalgia. Like, they don't ever want to put themselves out there lest they be chastised for being real.
Mm-hmm. So I always sensed that she wasn't putting on a front because she's only successful in an industry like this in spite of herself.
Yeah.
She's not a backbiting, hungry, ambitious, greedy person. She's not attention seeking, that's for sure. She had this wedding completely outside of the public eye.
She definitely doesn't give off the social climber
Right.
vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
From the outside looking in.
Well, that's why she decided she married someone who was not part of her industry because she at least wanted that taste of normalcy and not have to be married to someone that she's in competition with.
Yeah.
Which happens so often in the entertainment industry in general.
Like I said, like the happiest actors that I've seen are these actors who've been married for 25 years. Sometimes they marry other actors who are of the same strata as they are, but other times they just marry normal people.
But regardless, it's just important that you don't see your spouse as your competition. You know?
Yeah.
That you're competing with them for status or clout or money or friends even.
Yeah.
Like, that's something
when your
that
social
you see.
life becomes part of your professional life, things get complicated really, really quickly.
Right.
And very rarely, if ever, for the better.
If you were unfamiliar with Jeremy Dufresne, this says he serves as a captain for an alligator boat tour company just outside of New Orleans. Jeremy decided that life at a chemical plant working 7 days a week and shrimping on vacation days was not his calling. After a little convincing by his family, he got his captain's license and started running tours. He quickly realized this was a great fit and never thought of going back to his previous career. Jeremy's a great airboat captain and loves interacting with wildlife and his customers.
Find yourself an airboat captain, ladies.
He's just a humble alligator tour guide.
That's good.
And she's a pop singer. Can I make it any more obvious?
They will write songs about this for generations.
Truly, it's a love story for the ages. But I saw Peachy Keenan tweeted, Lana Del Rey comes out as a marriage appreciator. Gwen Stefani comes out as a devout Christian. What is happening?
I mean, look, I'm going to be completely honest. Since I am an extremely cynical person,
Nothing is happening.
No, the opposite. Whenever this stuff starts to happen, I just think it's a bunch of opportunists latching on to what they think the changing and prevailing winds are in the culture.
Well, you did mention that you saw the Gwen Stefani ad,
the
right?
The Hallow or...
Do you have it
I don't,
right now?
I think you sent it to me, right?
I can send you the link if you want.
This one right here?
Yeah. She's doing a promotion for Hallow, which is the most popular app for Christian prayer.
Yeah, here we go.
Christmas season has always been my favorite time of the year. It's a season that we get to celebrate the birth of our Lord. This year, I'm excited to share that I've partnered with this amazing prayer, meditation, and music app called Hallow on their 25-day prayer challenge leading up to Christmas called Advent Pray 25. Join me and millions of other Christians around the world as we celebrate together the truth that God so loved the world that he gave us his only son. Download Hallow and join me in praying every day. God bless.
Somebody just cuts and is like, so what do you think of gay rights?
Exactly, that's what they do. Now, Gwen Stefani is promoting this prayer app.
She's still married to Blake Shelton?
She is.
Okay.
She's still married to Blake Shelton. So Gwen Stefani is promoting Hallow, this prayer app, and then she gets a barrage of negativity simply for being Christian.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell. I didn't even know this, but apparently when she was going on tour with No Doubt, she still went to church on Sundays. I had no idea that.
That's crazy.
And she's Japanese.
That's crazy. I'm going to let you know a little secret. The other day, Olivia asked me to get an Advent chocolate calendar.
Okay.
I had no clue what the hell she was talking about.
Wait, you never had that growing up? You never had an Advent calendar?
Not an look, it was the chocolate part that threw me off. I was like, what the hell is that? I was like, do I find that in the candy section or do I find that in the calendar section? Where the hell do I go?
What on earth was your childhood?
My childhood was amazing, okay? The point was, I had no idea what she was talking about.
You never had an Advent calendar.
I didn't, I don't think so.
That's
maybe,
crazy.
Maybe I did and I don't remember it. But
I mean, they do suck, but when you're a kid, you don't care.
Yeah. She bought.
I feel sad for you.
She got.
I really
some,
feel sad for
she's
you.
Eating the chocolate from the Advent chocolate calendar. Or I'm like, do I ask them for the? First, I'm a guy, so I can't ask for help anyways. But do you go to the calendar section or do you go to the chocolate section? Where do you put it? They ended up not having it where I was going. We had to go to Walgreens to find one.
I'm actually still in shock that you didn't have that growing up.
So
I feel so sorry for you.
My issue with these types of stories, Lana's a little bit different because she's kind of always been against the culture, right? As we've discussed. But as the culture shifts, celebrities will start, latching on to things that they might not have had strong opinions about beforehand. Now, certainly that doesn't seem to be the case for Gwen Stefani if she was in fact going to church back then. But maybe she doesn't take this sponsorship with Hallow if the culture hasn't shifted a little bit.
True. Tastes are shifting.
Yeah.
And
they need to stay relevant.
It's sort of like what we were talking about in regard to Sebastian Stan. You played Trump in this movie that was essentially a smear piece.
Nominated for awards for that.
Still getting awards, but the other celebrities don't want to associate with that because it's becoming controversial to be a rabid leftist.
Yes.
And people are warming up to the idea that you can openly be pro-marriage or you can openly be a practicing Christian. And it's a safer time to do those things. It's also a safer time to be a Trump supporter than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Or to be married to one.
I did a video last Friday. I think it came out on Sunday where I talked about the guy who wrote YMCA. Originally said, I don't want him using my music. But then it went number one on Billboard. And he's like, you know what? Maybe this isn't so bad. And then he actually, but that's one thing to be like, look, originally what happened is he said no. And then he realized that they had gotten the license to use it, at his rallies. And that's one thing to be like, okay, I can't do anything about it. Because that's my point of the segment was like, did you know there's an actual Wikipedia page just for the artists who have told Trump he can't use their music?
Yeah.
Yeah, a whole list, A to Z. But he didn't just...
Because it became a virtue signal.
But he didn't just do that. He then went and thanked Trump for it, which is a vastly different thing than just saying, I guess I can't stop him from using my music. All of these are kind of small events that shift a larger scale change in the culture. Like John Jones doing the Trump dance after the UFC fight. Though I think that's a little bit less relevant because the UFC's been based for quite some time. It's when it started making its way into the NFL, all of these other places. But as you said, we're seeing this now happen with certain aspects of religion and Christianity coming back.
Ordinarily, I am the more cynical of the two of us. And I do
about
understand
people's motives. I'm always cynical about people's in Hollywood.
But I do understand exactly where you're coming from with that. Completely understand it.
Yeah. Not one, but does your faith, however, encourage you to give them the benefit of the doubt? It's kind of like what we were talking about the other day. It's like, who are you? Like, what was it we were talking about?
There was another celebrity who did a brand deal with Hallow, Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And that was controversial because Liam Neeson has been openly pro-choice. I mean, not really even just passively like, woman's right to choose, but he's like passionately pro-choice. Like, he's pro-abortion and identifies as a Catholic, which is contradictory. And he's said that publicly for years. So there were all of these Catholics and just, you know, non-Catholic Christians who use the Hallow app who were saying, like, I'm canceling my subscription because you are hiring people and paying people with my money that I'm giving you who are openly against our values.
Which means that you have to call into question whether Hallow is either
Exactly.
doing their due diligence or they're making a deal with the devil, perhaps, to promote their brand.
Right.
Mark Wahlberg can't do it for everyone, so you got
not just Marky Mark anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's finish up these super chats. V Wit said, calling a spade is racist, you racist.
Let's get to that second crisis party, guys. Let's go.
Call a racist. Sir Squatch said, Hagrid gives a Death Eater the last ride. I'm about it.
I would love that.
Wait, what?
It's so the Undertaker over the years has had multiple different finishing maneuvers. When he was the dead man, he had the tombstone pile driver, and the choke slam. Choke slam would be used more often than not when he was on TV. Save the tombstone pile driver for finishing on a pay-per-view. But then when he became like the American Badass Undertaker, starts dressing like a biker, and he has a finishing move called the Last Ride where he gives you a powerbomb, so he picks you up in the powerbomb, but he doesn't just drop you, he literally picks you up higher and then throws you on the ground.
You in the air?
He doesn't spin you in the air. Brock Lesnar would do that. But the point is, I would actually love to see Hagrid come out and just give the last ride to a Death Eater. That'd be great.
Nate said, Brett gotta do vows in a Chris Rock impression. They really like your Chris Rock impression.
Don't give me any ideas, guys.
Please don't do that. If you do that, I'm not going to your wedding.
That's just rude. That's just rude. Oh, it's fine. I'll do it at the. I'll do it during the when people are doing toasts. To avoid any embarrassing toasts, I will preemptively embarrass myself with a Chris Rock toast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, I clipped Brett's face during Cringe. Same, Brett.
Yeah, it was not good.
I mean, the Cringe just did what it was supposed to do.
It did.
Borg Porg said, since y'all are skateboarders, have any of you tried riding a one-wheel hoverboard? If so, what's your thoughts on the differences of a skateboard to a one-wheel?
I do not skateboard, but I have used the like. What's even worse is I've used like the motorized longboards, and that's a terrifying feeling to me. Like I don't want the feeling of like motorized anything like that.
I saw a guy on. I think I saw a guy on a one-wheel hoverboard the other day.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really a hoverboard. It was just a wheel.
There's a so
with
there's
like feet platforms.
Yeah, so it's like, and he's facing forward,
Yes.
right? So there's a dude in the city we live in the neighborhood we live in, who he just, it's not that he's on the hoverboard, it's that this dude is vibing. Like whatever he's listening to, it's like
he's in the zone.
It's hitting him when he's doing it. He's just vibing as
It's Careless Whisper.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and he's just going from ta 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 ta.
Yeah.
So they're like, I literally watched him like carve through a roundabout, not a care in the world as to whether a car was actually going to stop for him or not. And I was just like, I aspire to be that dude's level of vibe right now.
Right.
Yeah.
He's on another level. Is it on that one? Like the wheel with the platform?
With the platforms on either side. Yeah.
It just is not cool looking to me. But I don't skate. I'm not a skater. Not everyone who works for Tim Pool is a skater, just so you know. Hiroshima Otaru said Mary was 3.5. Great acting. Spoiler, Jesus is born. Oh man, you spoiled the ending. Now I'm not gonna watch it. Omega Red fan said Borat would still date her.
Who? I'm lost now. Who?
Pamela Anderson? I don't know. Shane H. Wilder said, I tweeted y'all my review, but a few notes are Mary lies, no Annunciation or Magnificat, Gabriel doesn't visit Joseph, and Satan tempts everybody. Oh, and the devil randomly kidnaps Mary.
I hate it when that happens.
Okay, that all sounds really out there. It's weird that it would be made by a Catholic then, because you clearly would be veering off from some Marian doctrines and also what's in the Bible. Nate said, I support Brett is normie narrative. You're not welcome here. Brett is not a normie. He wishes that he were a normie,
Look,
but he never will be. It's too late. You can't go back.
Yeah, you can't. One of the things that I tried to write about, and it's never come out the way that I'd like to. It makes me wish that I was maybe a better writer or better organized. Is I don't remember who it was. It might have been Cernovich. It might have been somebody else who wrote about wanting to be able to like vomit up the red pill.
Sounds like Cernovich.
And I kind of agree with that 110%. It's not something you can do. It's impossible. You can never go back. We're never going back. But there is a certain level of freedom that comes from the ability to just consume art, consume media, consume everything that's labeled as an authoritative source as it is. And I think what it comes down to more than anything is you have to still be under the illusion that the people that are feeding you information are doing so from a place of honesty and are doing so from a place of wanting to help the American public, are doing so from a place of just creating art with no other ideas. And if you're in the know, you understand how silly that is, because all it takes is a basic level of thought deeper than just consumption to know that everything that's created has some type of narrative attached to it, whether it's the motives of the creator itself, whether it's the network that's sponsoring it, or Pfizer paying for ads on your news site. But there was a freedom and there was a weight off your shoulders to be able to live that way. Now, it's a dangerous way to live your life in a lot of ways, because you can be, you can be like these news reporters or these people who are like, how did Donald Trump win? Because they've been so locked into this echo chamber that they aren't able to see what's going on around them. And I could never go back to that, but I can't deny that it sounds appealing on certain days when you're overwhelmed and stuff sucks. Yeah, but I'm still a normie. Don't worry about it.
But if you actually could press a button,
I would do it.
You would do it?
I would do it.
That's crazy.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, I don't know if I could do it in good conscience, because I've had too many blessings come out of not being in that world anymore. That basically you're giving up all of the amazing things that have come to you since then for ignorance that masquerades as ease.
Well, you certainly can't raise children in a world that you don't understand. So that it's good that you wouldn't press the button.
Most of the time, it only really affects me when I go, because I love so much old media and I love so much old entertainment, and going back and rewatching it with a current lens makes that more, most people I think in this space, they constantly looking to the next story, the next thing, and it's new. Whereas most of the time I'm looking at it through the lens of stuff that's existed for a decade or more. So I'm constantly in that kind of headspace of reevaluating. So.
Drewish AF said, my wife is blonde/white and gets hotter every year. Well, that's great. I love that for you.
There you go.
Congrats. Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, celebrating that I can watch Person of Interest without commercials. Life is good.
Yes. Okay, so then people got mad at me because they said you have to pay that $3 extra to have Amazon Prime without ads, which I forgot about because I did that right away once they did that thing where they added the tier.
Oh,
but yes,
awful.
If you pay the $3 extra or whatever it is to have Amazon Prime without ads, Person of Interest has been taken off of Freevee and put on Prime, meaning that if you have Amazon Prime without ads, you can now watch the whole show uninterrupted. It's a beautiful thing. You should go do it right now after this show. And after we get to a second crisis party, which we are
only after that happens.
Halfway.
Pete Donovan said celebrated PCC's birthday on Saturday with a big bag of Taco Bell. Happy Feast of the Immaculate Conception to all. Hope you made it to Mass today. That sounds amazing right now.
In the chat, Clitorum says, Brett's back. Yay. I was never gone.
Brett was here on Friday.
I was here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Phil was here. I was here. Mary was...
the Phil thumbnail made me laugh.
I was like, I took the thumbnail. I'm like, is that the face you want? He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay.
He's never looked so stern and emotionless.
Yeah.
Gordon Shumway said, Brett, watch Bad Santa and you'll see the best advent calendar aspirin, well, they can't all be winners. But they're supposed to be chocolates.
Yes, chocolates.
You know the problem with it, though? You don't realize it when you're a kid just how gross the chocolates are. Because they all are, like, barely made of, like, actual chocolate.
Is that why the calendars are so cheap?
Slop from China.
And
then you have one as an adult, and you're like, I actually can't finish this.
Olivia bought the advent calendar. It's only like $2. It's the cheapest thing
I
you
know.
can get at frickin' Walgreens.
I know.
Walgreens prices are marked up to the sky for everything.
The best thing, like, about having the advent calendar as a kid is you would forget for a few days. You got behind.
Oh, now you've got
and then
extra
you get
chocolate.
Yeah. Then it's like the perfect lesson about delayed gratification. Then you have like 3 for one day, and it's awesome.
Then you gotta let it build up again.
Exactly. Shane H. Wilder.
That's the same logic that people on their way to drug addiction do when they're getting into things, and they and it builds up.
Shane H. Wilder said Gwen on for Saturdays, as Hallow's Lent and Advent challenges are devoted to music on Saturdays. The other days have Jonathan Rumi, Bear Grylls, Jeff Cavins, Kevin James, and Father Chrysostom Bear. I didn't know Kevin James was on there. That's a surprise.
I feel like he's just like when you see that meme of him that was viral for so long. That's
the
what
one
I think
with
of.
His hands in his pockets.
That's just the I'm just a chill guy meme. It's just that, but with a dog.
I don't really get the chill guy meme.
I don't
like,
see as
what's
much.
the point?
It was big for a couple of days and then it kind of disappeared in my timeline.
High Voltage 75 said, "What did the Undertaker say to the urinal cake? Rest in pee." Amazing. Shane H. Wilder said, "Sadly, Joel Osteen was executive producer of Mary." Oh, I didn't know that.
Big yikes, as the kids
That is
would
a
say.
big yikes. That is a serious yikes. Well, maybe he had some of the influence on those plot points. Nate said, "I feel like that You're Not Welcome Here been in the chamber a while."
Which one was that? Which You're Not Welcome Here?
I guess I told him that when he said Brett is a normie. I don't feel any type of way about you, Nate. You can stay.
We like Nate.
It's fine.
I like Nate.
But you were wrong. Brett is not a normie.
So he says Paul Blart, mall pastor.
There
Kevin
are
James.
mall pastors.
Yeah. Yep.
I see a lot of people proselytizing at the mall.
Did you see did anybody here see the image? It was fake of Assad's DVD collection.
No.
Don't look at it. I implore you.
Why? What are you talking about?
Well, you know what happened over in Syria, right? There was like
vaguely.
This,
yes.
it says here's a leaked image of DVDs found on his on his premises, and it was all porn.
Okay.
But it was apparently like a picture from a 2021 like ad or something like that. It wasn't real.
Okay.
But I was like, the buy physical media crowd been real silent since this one dropped. All right, chat. What are you guys doing? We got 9 minutes here. I just wonder what chat's doing right now.
We're gonna do an AMA.
Somebody said that like the Brett came back because I put my glasses back on. Because I took my glasses off.
What causes you to take them off? Like you do that pretty much every show now.
Looking into that light, or if I'm looking at that camera's literally right next to a light, and it just hurts my eyes.
see. We need to move the light.
It'll affect your lighting. So
You're basically staring into the sun every time you try to talk to the
It's
audience.
worse. It's so funny because it was like original IRL studio is bad. New one's worse for me.
What do you mean?
Like new IRL studio is worse.
Oh,
for me
well,
lighting-wise,
because they have spotlights.
the
on
spotlight
each
that's right there,
person.
and I don't know if it's just my natural instinct to look up, but every time I look up at it, I'm like, oh,
what, like a moth?
yeah. I look up, I'm like, oh, fuck.
You're just like drawn to
Yeah.
look at them.
Yeah,
I like the lighting in the new studio so much.
like
better.
the actual product of the lighting.
And in general, actually. It looks better in person to me.
Hurts my eyes, man. Nate says, I think Brett's lukewarm takes on like all culture war topics makes him a
what?
A motor?
A motor.
I don't know. He says normie, not motor. Well, I guess yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not a normie. I just don't have. If I had a show other than this, it would be called No Strong Opinions.
then what would you talk about?
I don't know. I mean, I can have opinions. They're just not like, I don't think everything is the end of the world, and I don't. I'm not saying that.
So you think that I think everything is the end of the world?
I'm saying that in
That's
a
what
lot
you
of
think.
ways. In a lot of ways, no, not you. I'm saying in a lot of ways, these types of shows or podcasts and culture war stuff, you're incentivized to have the strongest opinions possible on everything. And that works for certain people, and especially if they're really well spoken, especially if they're really, really good and have really, really well thought out ideas, that works. But maybe it's just because I don't, that how am I supposed to, it would be one thing if, like, I guess it does happen, right? There are things I do have strong opinions about, but most of the time, like me and you kind of go back and forth where I pick some topics, you pick some topics, and the topics that I pick, I'm more likely to have strong opinions about. The topics that you pick, I'm kind of like, look, I don't know, but I can kind of vaguely put together an idea of what I think about. But if we're talking about Pamela Anderson and what it means for culture, I'm like, look, I can have like a thought on it, but it's just not something I've thought deeply enough about or affects me deeply enough to be able to have like a really strong take on it.
I guess I just don't understand the prerequisite for something affecting you for you to feel strongly about it.
That's just how I work. I'm not saying that has to be for anyone. I'm saying
because I know that it doesn't affect me.
For me, I think maybe it's just like if it affects me, I'm going to just put more thought into it.
Shane H. Wilder said, I didn't know Kevin James was Catholic until this challenge. The meditations from Divine Intimacy and C.S. Lewis are great. I didn't know Kevin James was Catholic either. That is news to me. Pete Donovan said, forgot to say great boys show Friday. Was it very like male energy in the studio?
I mean, it was one of those days where, okay, so when you're gone, I try to have the shows be as simplistic as possible, like one article, one topic. It did not work out that way.
No?
There was a ton of stuff, and I was basically, keeling over right before we went live because it just ended up being more than I would normally want for those types of shows.
What do you mean?
Just like a lot of like every topic had supplemental material that needed to be read with it, which I try to avoid when you're not here, just for the sake of streamlining the show. But it went well. It went fine. It was a really good time.
Mondo said, happy Monday, PCC. Couldn't tune in today. Had to train a new guy at work. Just dropping in to say hi. And Brett, you were great on Friday's IRL.
Thank you.
Thumbs up.
Thank you. I actually have way stronger opinions on IRL than I ever do here.
Right. And for me, it is the opposite actually. Yeah. High Voltage 75 said, what did you ask Santa for Christmas this year? What did you ask him for?
I asked that people not get me gifts.
That's all you asked for?
That's what
what did I ask for? A 23andMe.
Do you have
actually no?
Are you a big fan of gifts, or are you one of those people that doesn't like gifts?
I actually, if I really want something, I can only trust myself to get it, but I still want gifts.
Yeah,
just cause it's nice,
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, if you're a normie, then I'll eat Tim's hat.
Well,
yeah,
it's just don't do that. It's not yours. It's
stop trying to make normie Brett happen. It's never gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. I think that maybe you're right. Like I kind of mistake normie, and I've transposed that with the idea of just kind of having not a ton of strong opinions on a lot of stuff. It's not the same thing as
normie is just about like, losing your innocence. Basically, you've already become too online. For that.
Yeah. Make it out of this life without having any like meltdowns online about some random topic, then you're all right.
I'm constantly having meltdowns on the show, obviously.
No.
Constantly having meltdowns.
Well, no, I'm the one who has the.
It's the end of the world.
that
all the
is
time.
not what I meant.
Now it's getting toxic in the studio.
It is more that I just don't speak as well as you, so I have to either speak passionately about something specific or everything else. I'm like, so
I love when that happens. When we have like a Crow reboot review moment from Brett, like that's a high point for me. I always remember when you get angry, it's the best thing ever. Hiroshima Otaru said, normie is a state of blissful ignorance. Yep, and yet you can't simulate that. Shane H. Wilder said, why would I eat my own? I like my hat. Fair enough.
Well, but that doesn't mean you have to eat somebody else's hat.
20 from Gordon Shumway. Mary, you should do the Superman thing every time Brett takes his glasses off. When he does, say, oh, hey, we haven't met. Where did Brett go? Then when he puts his glasses back on, say, oh, there you are, Brett.
It's not accurate because Superman parted his hair the other way when he was Clark Kent. So
Have you thought about just parting your hair the opposite way for no reason?
No. That sounds miserable.
Why does it have to go that way, though?
Because if you do this constantly and then it's parted the other way, at least once on, like, by reflex, you're going to accidentally push it the other way and it's going to ruin your hair. It's going to stick straight up.
I used to part my hair the opposite direction. I don't even know why I settled on this one, but it happened.
I mean, I think mine would have to be more to do with where I have, like, cowlicks all over. My hair is, like, the lady who cuts my hair is, like,
She's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, basically.
Nate said Brett's crow take was amazing. See, they agree with me.
Well, that's,
They want to see you get angry more often.
Yeah.
What can we do to change this?
I don't want to get angry.
I like angry Brett.
I don't want to get angry.
It's the best.
In fact, it's really funny because I've been I've tried to record some solo videos in the morning to like don't have to have as many segments every day, like leading into the weekend in case we fall behind, which can happen sometimes. And I found that I stay more neutral in those because I'm not getting, I'm focused more on like the information rather than, and I've already kind of crystallized my thoughts on what I'm going to say. Whereas like when we're doing the show, it's kind of in the moment and like it builds like a crescendo where I actually come to my own point as I'm thinking it. And it builds, and then ends up being too much, and it's a little bit over the top. And, maybe that works for the live show, but, yeah.
Nate said Brett is just a chill guy.
Oh.
You're literally the chill guy meme.
That's me, guys. Thank you. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Please remember that we now put out segments at 8, noon, 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. as well. So if you have not caught the show live or perhaps you missed aspects of the show today, check out the channel at 6 and 8 p.m. Turn on the notifications so that you can check those out. It's a lot of fun to be able to check those as well. Thank you.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you'd like to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, guys, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch, you can leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and that would help us if you would go and do that, please. And if you want to follow the show on social media, Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok, because we were banned on TikTok, at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. There's one more there, Mary.
Nate said, but Mary is right. Turnt Brett is fun.
Oh, my goodness.
We love when Brett gets tilted.
All right. I'm just going to, you know what? We had the second Crisis Party. It's going to go right now.
Oh, right
there
now.
we go.
Okay.
All right. So
Thank you.
now Trump dance.
It's time
for everybody, except for me.
Oh, great. I'm just dancing alone.
Just dancing alone.
This is what I do.
All right. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Later, everybody.